Good morning and welcome to our webinar showcasing Teagasc's new exciting land-based apprenticeship programmes. These apprenticeships mark a new chapter in Teagasc education, following an earn-as-you-learn format, with the apprentices spending 80% of their time working for their employer and 20% of their time in one of the Teagasc colleges. Joining me today to discuss the apprenticeship model and how to become an apprentice and a registered employer, we have an exciting panel lined up for you. First, Dr. Anne-Marie Butler, Head of Teagasc Education, will give insights into the new programmes. We'll also be hearing from two apprentices, Conor Comerford, who is enrolled in the Landscape Apprenticeship programme, and Shane Gorman, who is an apprentice in the Sportsturf programme. We will be going live to Brackenhill Farm in Kilkenny to hear from employer Brian Doheny and his apprentice Olivia Rigney, who's undertaking the Farm Manager Apprenticeship programme. And finally, we'll hear from Marcella Phelan, Teagasc's Apprenticeship Coordinator, and John Mulhern, College Principal in the Teagasc College of Amenity Horticulture based in the Botanic Gardens. My name is Deirdre Walsh and I am the Assistant Principal at the Teagasc College of Amenity Horticulture based in the National Botanic Gardens, and I'm delighted to be your host today. I encourage you to ask questions by using the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen, and I will endeavour to put those questions to our panellists throughout the webinar. To start us off, I will hand you over to Dr. Anne-Marie Butler, Teagasc's Head of Education, to give an overview of the new land-based apprenticeship programmes.
Thanks very much, Deirdre. Good morning. My name is Anne-Marie Butler. I'm Head of Education with Teagasc, and it's my great honour to welcome you to our live webinar this morning here from Teagasc headquarters in Carlow. This morning, our webinar will provide you with a great opportunity to learn more about our new apprenticeships in the land-based sector. These apprenticeships were developed over the last couple of years in conjunction with our consortiums and SOLAS, and we are delighted that in 2023 we took in our first intake of apprentices. This morning we'll give you an opportunity to hear firsthand from those apprentices, their employers, and my colleagues and staff here in Kildalton and across the colleges in relation to the apprenticeships. You will hear firsthand their insights, their experiences, and very importantly, their advice for you as you consider this course for you. We welcome your questions and we welcome any queries that you may have, so please do put in your questions as the webinar proceeds. So why consider a Teagasc apprenticeship? For many of you joining us this morning, you may be familiar with the courses that Teagasc already offers, full-time, part-time and distance courses. The apprenticeship, however, is a very exciting and new pathway of learning. Our apprenticeships are offered in horticulture, Sportsturf and 2 in agriculture, a level 6 and level 7. You will hear this morning from our apprentices how they earn as they learn. They are employees of an employer and they spend significant amount of the time with their employer and a component of their time with our Teagasc colleges across the country. And very importantly, you will learn the different pathways to their qualifications and how they can progress. Our apprenticeships are based across the Teagasc network of colleges, the Botanic Gardens in Dublin, Kildalton in South Kilkenny and Clonakilty College in Cork. This morning you will hear from the apprentices and how that method works, so please do get engaged, do get involved, and don't be afraid to ask us any questions as it proceeds. I encourage you to sit back, relax, enjoy the content that we have for you today. Please do come and experience a land-based apprenticeship with Teagasc. There's a world of opportunities there. It's a very exciting and new opportunity. There's something there for everybody and we look forward to working with you. Thank you, Deirdre.
Thanks, Anne-Marie. You might like to join me over here. I agree that the apprenticeships is a new exciting programme, or venture rather, for Teagasc, and it's something maybe traditionally we might have associated with the construction industry. Can you tell me why it's important for Teagasc now to introduce these new land-based apprenticeships?
Yeah, so we were delighted. There's been a couple of years of development with the consortiums. The consortiums have led these and have told us, you know, what the industry needs and what students and apprentices need in their, I suppose, in their armoury.
Yes.
So we're delighted to be able to provide that. We have wonderful facilities, we have wonderful staff, and it's very practical-based learning. And I think it's a very exciting time, and we're delighted to be able to lead this.
I agree wholeheartedly, Anne-Marie. We've, as you know, we've launched our landscape apprenticeship programme in the Botanics, and it's running very well to date. Is there a cut-off in numbers then for anybody that's interested in applying for this year?
Yeah, there is. So I would encourage anybody watching or who might, be aware of somebody who's interested to please, I suppose, start the process now. There is a limited number on the courses. There's a process, as you'll go through the webinar this morning. There's a lot of detail for people, but I would encourage people to get that ball rolling, or even just to start inquiring as to what they need to do and how it works. But capacity will be limited. Okay,
perfect. And you've mentioned it as well, but have you any advice maybe for viewers that are possibly considering it, sees their colleagues doing apprenticeship programs? What advice would you have for them?
Yeah, look, there's a couple of bits. I suppose the first is just to consider apprenticeships. It's a very exciting pathway across a number of areas, and the Generation Apprenticeship website, the National Apprenticeship Office, there's lots of options there for people. So first of all, just to consider it as a route, and secondly, to take the time. As I said, we have lots of information today. The webinar will be recorded so people can watch back again. So there is parts about securing your employment, chatting with your employer, getting applications in. But I suppose first and foremost for people just to consider the options and to consider Teagasc as the place to study.
Perfect. And Anne-Marie, we're not even a year with the apprenticeships launch, and it's fair to say that there is an appetite there for both the employer and the apprentice.
Oh, absolutely. And look, the feedback, you're going to meet 3 wonderful apprentices this morning. They have great stories to tell. Their employers, I suppose, are real advocates for the Earn As You Learn model. So it's really exciting, and as I said, we're only too delighted and honoured to be able to partner with SOLAS and our consortiums to deliver these programmes.
Brilliant, lovely. Thanks, Anne-Marie.
Thanks, Deirdre.
So one notable difference between the apprenticeship programmes and our other courses that we offer in Teagasc is the application process. So to explain this further, we've assembled a step-by-step video on how the application works to become an apprentice.
How to become an apprentice. Step 1, get the information. Check relevant web pages at www.apprenticeship.ie and promotional materials. Attend Teagasc and apprenticeship promotional events. Check that you meet the required entry requirements. Step 2, get a job. Secure a job with a SOLAS approved employer. Agree terms and conditions. Sign a contract of employment. Step 3, contact SOLAS. The employer contacts the SOLAS authorised officer to complete the apprenticeship registration process in conjunction with the apprentice. SOLAS authorised officer registers the apprentice. Step 4, enrol on a Teagasc apprenticeship programme. Complete Teagasc online application process. Attend induction training with Teagasc. Start your career as an apprentice. Good luck with your apprenticeship.
So that was a very helpful video on the steps required to become an apprentice. So now let's hear what it's like to be an apprentice with Teagasc. So I'm delighted to say joining me in studio are Conor and Shane, and coming in remotely from Brackenhill Farm are Brian and Olivia. So welcome to you all. We recently caught up with each apprentice and their employers to gain insights to their experiences to date on the programme. So first up, we travelled to Kilkenny to meet with Conor Comerford, who is completing the Landscape Apprenticeship programme with his employer, Dermot Bergen.
Dermot Bergen is my name. I've set up Lodge Park Landscapes back in 2007. I came from a farming background, so I was always going to do something land-based, and I pursued a diploma in horticulture in Kildalton. We're a landscape company. We design, build and create gardens and outdoor spaces, is a good way of putting it, I suppose. So that's from new gardens through to maintaining existing gardens.
My name is Conor Comerford. I'm 28 years of age. I'm from Kilkenny City. So I was previously in college doing a degree that didn't suit me. I suppose I fell into this industry through my dad. He worked in this area for the last 40 years or so. So I'm doing a level 6 hort apprenticeship. I'm based in the College of Amenity of Horticulture, which is based in the National Botanic Gardens.
Conor was with us about 2 years when we first got to hear about the apprenticeship scheme, heard about it through Teagasc and the LCI, the Landscape Contractor Association. as I say, it was a no-brainer for us. He'd already been with us 2 years. It was the next step forward for him. For ourselves, we'll benefit as well because he'll bring back his knowledge back to the job. So it's a win-win really.
From day to day, you could be working in a private house or you could be working in a commercial area. Each job is different no matter what. If it's the same maintenance kind of work, it's still different. You're in a new area, a new bed, a new background. The sounds are different. Everything's different about the whole job area. So I just love the whole variety of each day-to-day work. Kind of just makes it more enjoyable that you're not stuck in the one area. We're only a couple of months into it, and I feel like I've learned a lot about botanical names of plants, plant protection, propagation, horticultural machinery, everything. So you're taught everything from the ground up. If there's anything I need help with, I'd go to Dermot. I told him to throw me into the deep end from the start, just so I could learn that bit quicker. And he has been doing that, which I enjoy as well. It's great working with Dermot and the team. Like, they all have different aspects and I suppose different skills that they're better than each other nearly. Whether it's to do with plants or the groundworks, they all offer big benefits to me.
So the process is we get approved, as employer we get approved by SOLAS, as Conor does, and then it's back to Teagasc to get the apprenticeship up and running. In terms of landscaping itself, I love the variety of our work day to day. There's no 2 days the same. I think if you have an inkling, if you love outdoors, definitely consider horticulture. Come speak to us, come ask us all about it. It may be for you. If outdoor career is for you, I think horticulture can be a very, very rewarding one.
Well, I suppose I hope I'd be doing it for the rest of my life anyway. This is just the start of it with Dermot, and I plan to be with Dermot for the next while. Well, as long as I can, I suppose. It's great for me to be with him, and it's great to have Dermot and the team to mentor me. I can't see myself doing anything else other than being outdoors.
Conor, that was an excellent video of you there out on a private garden, possibly in Kilkenny. You're a glutton for punishment, Conor. You like to be thrown in at the deep end, and now you find yourself completing an apprenticeship programme.
I know.
How's all of that going for you?
Yeah, it's going great now, to be fair. I suppose we're fairly busy this kind of side of Christmas. The kind of workload is kind of starting to pile up a little bit, but no, everything's going well. Good,
good. And how are you finding it? I'm most familiar with you because you are based in the National Botanic Gardens, so you complete about 4 days in the college a month.
We do, yeah.
Some of those are online, some of those are face-to-face.
Yeah.
So how do you find that?
Yeah, so we do 2 days every 2 weeks, 2 weeks in Dublin and then 2 weeks online,
yes,
which I do from home. It is more difficult from home,
okay,
just for the fact of concentration levels and stuff like
yes,
that.
Yeah. You prefer to be with us in the college?
I do prefer to be with you. Yeah,
yeah.
I suppose it's good to be up and doing the modules and getting out and doing a bit of practical work.
And you mentioned there the modules. Can you describe to me or tell us what kind of modules are you currently undertaking?
Yeah, so we're doing 7 modules altogether. A few like plant identification, plant propagation, protection, IT, and then there's a bit on soils.
Okay.
So
and Conor, what would be the most valuable skills that you've learned to date? Now you're only halfway through.
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
but
yeah.
what are the most valuable skills that you've learned to date that you're bringing back to the workplace?
I think I'm bringing back the plant identification aspect of it the most. Like I'd be working with clients or whatever, and I'd be using the botanical names of plants.
Yes.
I suppose it just proves a bit about my knowledge and gains their trust,
Yes.
so they know that we can do the best job possible, I suppose.
Perfect. And as Dermot nicely described there, like you're in the business of designing, building and creating spaces using plants, so it's a very important skill to have. And Conor, you previously did a level 8 qualification. What's the main difference maybe from your previous experience with education to now?
I suppose the previous college I was in full time. It was a 3-year course, so you were in there 5 days a week. Whereas the apprenticeship, we're only in 2 days every 2 weeks.
Yes.
So it's that bit easier in terms of the length of time that you spend in the classroom. From working in an outdoor job and going inside to a classroom, it can be that little bit difficult. But overall, that would be kind of
the main difference for you, yeah. And you might tell me a little bit about maybe field trips that you might get to go on, maybe in college or outside of college.
We've been to a couple of places with Teagasc. We've been to Belfield in Shinrone in County Offaly. We've been to Kilmacurra as well, along with 1 or 2 other places. But as well as that, Diarmid, our boss, is bringing us to Cooking Gardens, which is just outside Amsterdam itself. So we're looking forward to going to there now. Fantastic.
And then just on Diarmid, like, it is very clear, to be fair, with all the videos that we're going to see today, that the apprentice and the employer relationship, how important is Diarmid's support to you? Because you mentioned that you're not on your own when you're doing this apprenticeship. So how important is his support?
Yeah, Diarmid's great. Like, he does a lot for all of us on the team. Like, I suppose he brought the apprenticeship forward to me. So that kind of says a lot about our relationship. I can come to Diarmid with assignments, with everything, anything really, on the job, off the job.
Yes.
He'll be there to help us out anyway. So.
Yes, yeah, fantastic. And it's fair to say that you're quite busy at the moment at work, and it is probably a pinch point as well in the college, because I know you have a lot of assignments and assessments currently. Yeah. How do you manage all of that?
I suppose today in particular is a busy day for me. Heading back up to the college later on, and then I have
it's very dedicated
a sports game on as well later on. So there's a lot of to and fro, but like, I'm from Kilkenny, like, and I get the train up to Dublin, and that kind of gives me a bit of time to do my work in the mornings and the evening. So that's a big help to me anyway.
It's a lot of dedication from you, Conor. Yeah, so well done on that.
Thanks, Deirdre.
Okay, so thanks, Conor. The success of the apprenticeship programme relies heavily on the support and the involvement of the employers. It was great to see how supportive Diarmid is of the career of Conor's career. So before we go live to Brackenhill Farm, we've created a short video outlining the process of becoming a SOLAS registered apprenticeship employer.
How to become a SOLAS approved employer. Step 1. Get the information. Contact Teagasc to get information on the relevant programme. Check relevant web pages at www.apprenticeship.ie and promotional materials. Attend apprenticeship promotional events. Step 2. Complete an online expression of interest form with SOLAS. Employer completes an online expression of interest form on the Generation Apprenticeship website. Step 3. SOLAS will verify the online expression of interest form and contact Teagasc. Teagasc will review the expression of interest form and contact the employer to confirm that they meet the requirements to become a SOLAS approved employer. Teagasc will confirm with the SOLAS authorised officer if the requirements to become an approved employer have been met. Step 4. On-site inspection. A SOLAS authorised officer completes an inspection to check suitability to train apprentices and a check of compliance with the Apprenticeship Code of Practice for Employers and Apprentices. The SOLAS authorised officer recommends the employer to SOLAS for approval. Where employer is not approved, guidance of requirements to become a SOLAS approved employer will be provided. An employer can reapply at a further point for inspection. Step 5. The SOLAS approved employer recruits an apprentice. The SOLAS approved employer agrees terms and conditions with the apprentice. A contract of employment is signed between the SOLAS approved employer and the apprentice. The SOLAS approved employer contacts the SOLAS authorised officer to complete the apprentice registration process in conjunction with the apprentice. Step 6. Contact Teagasc. The registered apprentice and the SOLAS approved employer contact Teagasc to enrol on the relevant apprenticeship programme. We wish you and your apprentice every success.
before we speak with Brian, who is an employer, we travelled to Brackenhill Farm to catch up with him and his apprentice, Olivia Rigney, to hear firsthand about her experiences of the Farm Manager Apprenticeship programme.
My name's Olivia Rigney. I'm from Clonaslee in County Leash, and I'm doing my first year apprenticeship course with Brian Doherty in Tullaroan, County Kilkenny. Yeah, we have sucklers and sheep at home. It's a small farm. We have about 35 hectares. So I finished secondary school and I went to Gertrude Agricultural College in Tipperary, and I completed my dairy herd management level 6. So I got the job first. I've been here since last summer, and it was brought to my attention then about the apprenticeship course, and I was very interested in it, and I got to stay with Brian, so that was a lot of it as well, because I really enjoy working here. Brian is very good with helping us on farm, and when we go to college, if we need any information for our course, he's well able to provide it. So we have a staff meeting once a week. It's usually on a Monday after breakfast, and we talk about what jobs have to be done during the week and what jobs have to be done, say, that day that are most important. And we work our way down to the list. Everyone has a certain list of jobs, and we plan to get them done throughout the week. What I enjoy most about the apprenticeship is that it's just very hands-on. We're out every day doing what we want to do, and you're not stuck inside reading a book or studying all the time. We're out learning as we go. You're out in the fresh air every day, and it's good for you and it's good for your mental health. I think the biggest advantage is that after being in college and wanting to further my education, but wanting to go out and get a job and make money for myself, is that whether we're on farm or in college, we get paid for the apprenticeship course. It's great to see that they can provide us with that, and it really does encourage people to want to further their education. So after my level 7, I'm hoping to possibly go abroad to New Zealand or Australia for a minimum of 6 months, just for the experience and to see what way they manage their dairy farms out there compared to Ireland here. We want to be able to have a dairy farm at home with the land around us. It's just not good enough quality. So I'm looking to manage a farm somewhere near us, hopefully.
Thanks, Olivia and Brian, for that content. There's an excellent video of you out on the farm. Before we speak with you, Olivia, Brian, can you tell us a little bit about your farm and maybe why you considered the apprenticeship programme?
Brian Doherty is my name. I farm with my wife Anne-Marie and my father Jerry in Tullaroan, County Kilkenny. This year we'll milk 380 cows. It's a spring calf and crossbred herd. And I suppose the reason Olivia was already working here prior to the apprenticeship idea coming up, and Anne-Marie brought it up. It happened just in conversation with Olivia, and she jumped at the idea. I suppose it suited her and it suited us that she's working and she's studying at the same time without being gone full time.
Okay, perfect, Brian. And Olivia, why did you decide to do an apprenticeship programme? And you might tell us what you were doing before you took on the level 7 programme.
Yeah, so I done my level 6 dairy herd management in Gertrude Agricultural College in Tipperary, and I just thought that would be a good stepping stone into the level 6 farm manager apprenticeship course. I thought that it would be better for me to go and be learning on the job, and I prefer more hands-on work and more practical side of the job. So the apprenticeship really caught my attention.
Okay, fantastic. And has the programme prepared you for the challenges that you might face every day at work on the farm?
It definitely has. The modules we cover in the apprenticeship course really do reflect on the work that we do on farm. For example, the lameness classes that we covered in Moore Park, between mobility scoring, hoof care, roadways, all of that, we see that on farm. And I'm lucky enough that Brian does his own hoof pairing, and I get to see firsthand the problems and what caused it and how they can be fixed. And Brian assists me and lets me practice on the cows myself.
Okay, fantastic. And Olivia, have you noticed that maybe Brian delegates more to you, or like has your role and responsibilities, are they changing? Now I know you're not too long into your apprenticeship programme, but are you being given more responsibility?
Yeah, most definitely. Brian's very good at delegating the work out, and he trusts me to do the jobs that most people mightn't.
Yes.
Vaccinating cows before calving, which is very important, and even the aftercare of the calves, which is definitely very important as well.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of responsibility, especially at this time of the year, Olivia. So I'm sure you're very busy. Brian, through the video there, like there seems to be a great atmosphere between yourself and everybody that's there on the farm that we saw in the video. How do you foster that supportive environment for the likes of Olivia?
I suppose it's important to figure out what makes people tick, and I'd find definitely with Olivia thrives on the extra bit of responsibility.
Okay.
And I suppose that's one of the big pluses with the apprenticeship. It's a two-way thing. Like, obviously we get the benefit of having an employee here, but we also get the benefit of what she's learning, and I get to pass on responsibility to her, but that takes from my workload as well, and that's huge. Okay,
and that's interesting then, Brian, because like for an employer to come on the programme, they might be thinking they'll have to do without somebody during, you know, a certain period, maybe during the busy period that they're in college when you really need them. How do you plan when Olivia is in block release in the college?
It's the same as planning around weekends and holidays and days off. You just it goes on the roster and you work around it. Like if we're missing a person for certain days, we just organise that some of the bigger jobs get put back to a day that because everybody is here.
Yes, okay, and I see the sun is coming out there now. It's shining a bit brighter there this afternoon. And when you're rostering, Brian, do you use technology?
Yeah, no, we use the Time Tree app. Yeah. So we'll say Anne-Marie looks after, it's pretty much planned out almost near enough a year in advance. So we'll say block release, holidays, matches, electric picnic, the whole lot is already on Time Tree going out to September, October. So everyone knows where they stand in advance. And we can organise relief cover and that sort of thing. Okay. Just you can deal with it when you know about it.
And I'm sure for yourself that's a very important tool to plan, because it is a very, very labour-intensive operation farm that you're running there. And again, it is really clear, and it's fabulous to see the strong relationship that seems to be between yourself and Olivia. And I just want to go back to Olivia then. How supportive is Brian to you during the apprenticeship programme?
Brian's very supportive with information that we need for college. I have access to the apps such as ICBF and Pasture Base, and I get all the information for the farm that I can put into my projects then and into any work that needs to be done. So even any questions that I come back from college, why do we do this, or Brian's well able to explain that. Okay,
fantastic. And Brian then, do you see the knowledge coming back to Olivia kind of, is that enhancing your business as well?
Definitely, definitely. Like it's very interesting watching her upskill herself, and it's probably nearly a challenge for me that I have to be able to, when you get a good question, you have to be able to deliver a good answer. So I almost have to up my game as well.
It keeps you on your toes, Brian.
It does, absolutely. That's no bad thing.
Yeah, good, fantastic. And again, compliments to the lovely scenery that's there behind you, and the cows are playing ball this morning.
And it's not raining heavy.
It's not raining heavy, lovely, and it's great to see them out as well. So listen, thanks guys. And can I remind for those of you that are watching to please submit any questions that you have for Brian and Olivia, as they will be staying with us for the remainder of the session. So next, we travelled to Rosslare Golf Club to catch up with Sportsturf apprentice Shane Gorman and his manager Mark Doyle.
I'm Mark Doyle. I'm Links Superintendent here at Rosslare Golf Club. I've been here for the last just over 2.5 years now. Having travelled extensively throughout my career, I'm a Gorey man, a Wexford man. at heart, so it was great to get a move back closer to home and to be able to take on managing a course such as Rosslare.
My name is Shane Gorman. I'm 20 years old. I've been living here in Rosslare, County Wexford, my whole life. My house is down there just beside the 4T, so I've been out here since I was a young lad. You know, I've been playing golf my whole life. My father plays golf. My father was working here, so it's sort of in me, to be honest. So I did summers here. I was 2020 and 21, and then after that summer then I just stayed on here full time. Well, my manager told me his first week here, very first week, he asked me would I be interested in doing an apprenticeship, and straight away I was.
I suppose the big push for me to get Shane onto the programme was the fact that it is very difficult to get staff. It's very difficult to get younger staff in particular who are interested in it, and you know, I think down the line the industry as a whole will suffer if we don't be proactive in getting kind of the next generation of good lads through. It's an opportunity for them to learn while they're making money as well.
So I'm studying in Kildalton College in Kilkenny. I'm doing a Sportsturf apprenticeship. The overall apprenticeship is 2 years long. Well, the application process was fairly straightforward, you know. Came down and had a little interview and a meeting, and they accepted me then, and that was it. So I love that I'm working as well. I'm learning and working, because I find it difficult just sitting in a classroom the whole time, so I'm getting the work experience and the theory at the same time. Well, Mark is brilliant actually, you know. He keeps me interested anyway. He likes to change up the jobs and stuff, and keeps me interested that way. The winter work I like the most because it's always different, you know. Summer you're cutting and watering, and like this year we have a new 4T that was built, so we had to strip the sod, rebuild the tee, put the sod back onto it. You know, stuff you wouldn't be doing in the summer.
The first piece of paper that you'll get in Kildalton is huge. That's step number one. But then after a couple of more years experience and things like that, all those programs in America through Penn State, through Ohio State, they're all open to you, and you know, it's massive. I went from there to numerous world-class courses, and every one of them has been a fantastic experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world. The Sportsturf management apprenticeship is like, I've based most of this on greenkeeping because it's what I'm used to, but it opens up, it's an awful lot more than golf courses. There's pitch management, and then you've got the guys who are looking after the racetracks in the Curragh and the racetracks in Leopardstown and places like that, you know, all world-class venues, and this apprenticeship opens up all those doors. It's not solely golf course based.
I love being out here in the quiet in the mornings, you know, you hear the birds, seeing the sunrise. It's real calming, like. I just love it.
I love going out and setting up the golf course, trying to improve it every day, but what keeps it, I suppose, right for me is you know, hearing people say, geez, the place is great out there, you know, and you think to yourself, look, I'm going to get up and go out and make it better again tomorrow. So it's just the constant striving for improvement.
Well, the plan is to stay here for a couple of years first anyway, just to, you know, pay him back for all the help and help get me through the apprenticeship, and then I don't really know after that. Hopefully go abroad somewhere, but I'm not really sure where.
That's a fantastic video there, Shane, but before I get to you, can I remind anybody watching, if you have any questions, and we have plenty coming in, to type them into the Q&A function, and we'll get to them shortly. And also, if we don't get to them, we'll respond to you directly, because we mightn't be able to get to them all. So Shane, is it fair to say that this apprenticeship pretty much landed on your doorstep?
Yeah, very much so, yeah. Living right down the road from the course.
Okay, and it is something that you've always, the golf course outside your front door, it's something that you've always considered, and now you can make a career of it?
Yeah, yeah.
And how is the programme going for you?
Oh, it's going well, yeah.
Perfect.
Flying through.
Good, good. And can you tell me a little bit about, you know, your love for the outdoors really shines through, as to be fair to everybody, but you reference kind of watching the sunrise and listening to the birds, and that seems to be very important to you. So can you tell me a little bit about maybe working outdoors and you know, how...
Yeah, well, I just find it helps clear your head a bit, and you're out in the fresh air, and I just find it difficult sitting down at a desk all the time.
Okay. And Shane, you might describe to me then what a typical day is for somebody that's working on a golf course.
So, first things in the morning, you'd usually just be setting up for the golfers, breaking bunkers, changing holes, stuff like that.
Yeah. And you might tell us a bit about that machine that you were using there as well.
Top dressing
People might
there,
think you were spreading lime, but that's
No,
not lime you're
sand,
spreading at all.
sand.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so you just spread sand, it dilutes the organic matter in the soil and firms up the ground then.
Okay. And when you were in college then, Shane, like first of all, maybe tell us a little bit about how often you're in college and whether it's face-to-face or is it online. And are you doing a lot of theory-based work or are you doing a lot of practical-based work?
So we do 6 weeks throughout the year. We have 2 weeks in November, 2 in January and then 2 in April.
Yeah.
And we have it online then every Wednesday while we're not in college.
Yeah.
You know, just to catch up and
yes.
make sure we're still working away and stuff like that.
Okay. And do you go on many field trips then to see?
Yeah, we go on a weekly field trip just around to different courses, stuff like that. We were in Mount Juliet there. You know,
Beautiful.
it's a world-class course, like so we got to see what happens there.
And Shane, like how many people are in your class and you know, do you all get on and do you keep in contact then maybe when you're not in college?
Yeah, so we have the Moodle group there together. So we all throw up if we're doing a big job or something, we throw it up on that just so the other lads can see it.
Okay, and for those that mightn't know, what's Moodle?
It's just an online platform where you can put your assignments and upload stuff onto it.
Okay, yeah, brilliant. And you find that useful?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and like, you know, and again, this question applies to everybody, but I'm going to ask you, you know, presumably you have a life outside of work and outside of the apprenticeship program. You mentioned to me earlier you're going on you're leaving us straight away and going on a golfing tournament when you go. How do you manage it all?
I suppose you just have to put in the time when you can and put your head down and get it done, I suppose, really.
Yes. And do you find, like, is there, you know, maybe people are wondering, is there a lot of assessments or how do you manage it all? Like, do you break those, are they broken down into smaller bite-sized pieces?
Yeah, so all of the subjects that we do, they'd be broken down into different assessments. And they wouldn't all just be sitting down and doing a test, you know, you could be given a few weeks to upload something or, you know, you're given enough time anyway. Okay,
so you haven't, it's not something that's concerning you yet,
No.
You're keeping on top of everything.
Which as long as you keep tipping along, you're all right.
You're good, yeah, which it's an important point because it might seem a lot to juggle, you know, and you're managing all of that. And in college then in Kildalton, what are the facilities that you would use like for your practicals, say?
So most of our practicals will be in the labs, soil testing, different tests for like your NP and K, say stuff like that. Yeah, perfect. And outdoor facilities then? There's a green? There is a little green. We haven't been down there yet because of all the rain, so it's just too wet, but it is there anyway, Perfect, Hopefully we get down there then when it gets a bit drier. Brilliant.
And I know you mightn't have covered it yet either, but machinery does play an important part possibly in all apprenticeships as well, but you would be touching on that as well in college.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Just something there,
Go for Connor, yeah.
Town as well, and you have the simulators and stuff.
Yes.
So for the likes of me and digger work and stuff like that, that's great for getting hours up and getting a bit of practice in on machinery there as well.
Okay, fantastic, yeah. And Olivia, I might put that to you as well, the facilities that you use when you're in college. And now I know you mightn't have experienced everything yet, but can you tell us a little bit about what facilities you have when you do go to college?
Yeah, we also have the simulators in Kildalton as well. We use them and we found it very beneficial just because some people mightn't have the experience on machinery and that gives them a good idea of how they work and just gain the experience.
Okay, and I think most of the students do love using the simulators as well, so they've been a great addition to our colleges. I have many questions here on the Q&A, so let me just kind of go through them here. Shane, if you had to give somebody a viewer a piece of advice for considering an apprenticeship in Sportsturf, what would that be?
I'd say do what I did and try it out for a year first.
Okay.
Because working through the winter, you know, you're out in a lot of weather, especially in this country, you're out in the weather all year round. And you could end up not liking it, so you're better off trying it out first.
No, that is a great piece of advice. And let's say, I saw one here for Connor then. Connor, would you recommend the apprenticeship as a way of gaining your qualification?
I would, yeah. I suppose going to college for 3 years beforehand, I wasn't 100% sure about what I wanted to do. So I suppose finding a course that's suited for you. The apprenticeship program is great, whether it's in agriculture or horticulture.
Yeah.
You get to experience the practical side of it, and you're outdoors, depending on what modules you're doing.
Yeah.
So I definitely would recommend the apprenticeship.
Perfect, Conor. And Brian, I think this question is for you. Would you mind sharing the name of the schedule planner that you use on the farm? People might be planning to book electric picnic. They need to get this.
It's an app called Time Tree.
Yeah. Just that's the name of it, yeah.
It's a very good app. You can build, we'll say, a family part of it, if you like, for yourself, and then you can overlay your employees stuff, and you can overlay farm jobs and stuff onto that as well. So, you know, everybody can see when someone is away, and you can spot at a distance. You can spot when there's a bottleneck coming, and you can deal with it before it happens.
Okay, it sounds like a really useful piece of technology.
No, it's excellent. Yeah, it's very handy.
Okay, good. Thanks for that, Brian. And Olivia, how long is the level 7? And after completing the level 6, how much is on the farm and how much is off the farm?
So the level 7 is 2 years.
Yeah. And
on the farm, you definitely be doing 80-85%, and then the rest would be in college between Kildalton and Moore Park.
Okay, yeah. And it's pretty much split across all the apprenticeships, for anybody that's wondering. Pretty much 80% of your time is spent with your employer, and 20% of your time is spent with us in the college. That's great. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, there's a question then again about the structure of the block release, but I might leave that for our panel. Is there development? Right. Do you find, this is one maybe for all of you, do you find it difficult, the apprenticeship programme? Is it a difficult programme?
I suppose I worked with our company for 2 years beforehand, so I had a bit of knowledge going into the programme.
Yeah.
But there's so much that we're learning from all aspects of the course, like, so it's not, the retaining the knowledge is probably the hardest part, but we bring some back, and our bosses give us information to bring into the course as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I suppose, managing your time is probably the most difficult part of it.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
Okay, perfect, Conor. And Shane?
No, I'd agree as well. I think I wouldn't really struggle with the learning part of it though, because you learn about it in college, and then you bring it back, and you're able to put it into the workplace then.
Yes.
And I just find it easier to remember that way.
Okay, yeah. And Olivia?
Yeah, I definitely agree with the lads there. It's once you're able to bring back what you're after learning and you see it in action, you can then process it better.
Okay. And we've another question in then. I might just put it to you, Olivia. Is the level 7 that you're doing, is that an ordinary degree?
It's an ordinary level bachelor's degree, yeah.
Perfect, yeah. And are you aware of any other maybe progression routes then for you to go on, maybe to a level 8 programme, for instance? You mightn't have looked at it yet, Olivia, but...
I was only looking last week, and there's an option to go and do a part-time course in Dundalk, which is level 8.
Okay, perfect.
So it's just another stepping stone if that's what I do want to do in the future.
Okay, and there's questions here about student. Okay, well, there's like basically, again, you'd recommend the programme.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And Olivia, and Brian, from the employer's point of view, would you recommend people that are maybe watching today, or employers particularly that are watching today, would you recommend this programme to them?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Like we're competing with all industries now for good people, and this is another way of, bringing a person into your business. You get the benefit of their effort, and they get upskilled. So that's a win-win.
Perfect. Okay, well, we're not going to get through all the questions, and it's great to see so many of them coming in. So I might just move on now to our next section. But just to say many thanks to you all for sharing your insights. of the apprenticeship programme, and I wish to thank you for being with us today, and I know you're all very busy. In our final, in our next session, our final session, we will be joined by Marcella Phelan, our apprenticeship coordinator at Teagasc, and college principal John Mulhern. But before we delve into their next discussion, let's hear from John as he outlines the structure of the apprenticeship programme.
The new Level 6 and 7 higher education apprenticeships, as operated by Teagasc in conjunction with the various farming and horticulture consortia, are 2 years in duration. The model of learning is based on an 80-20 split of on-the-job versus off-the-job learning. That means that apprentices will be attending college-based learning with Teagasc for at least 10 weeks per year, depending on the programme they are completing. Each apprenticeship has a defined syllabus, which is specific to Year 1 or Year 2. All modules are credit-based, so in order to be awarded credits, exams must be passed. Year 1 modules will include areas that focus on sustainable production, the sciences underpinning farming and horticulture, health and safety, while Year 2 subjects will include financial management, administration, and what we call a capstone project, which will allow the apprentice an opportunity to capture all their learning in a final year project. This block release programme has been designed to minimise the impact of the apprentice's absence for the employer. Block release also allows employers to plan for the apprentice's absence throughout the off-season. Attendance at block release is compulsory, and apprentices will attend face-to-face classes, practicals, labs and field trips while off the job. Exams will take place also in this period in both written and practical areas. The off-the-job element will also be facilitated by remote engagement for the apprentice via an online learning platform which is in use in all Teagasc colleges called Moodle. The apprentice's learning time in the Teagasc College will be collaborative in nature. It will focus on the syllabus content, but there will also be time for discussion around the apprentice's learned experiences to date, where a sharing of knowledge will be encouraged and an apprentice's confidence will grow through the ability to share this knowledge and learn from innovative ideas in the group.
Hi John, it's fair to say that we work closely together in the National Botanic Gardens and with the implementation of the apprenticeship programme. We haven't fallen out just yet. So John, a lot of information you cover there in the video, but what would be the key take-home message there for people watching?
Yeah, I think the essential message from that is the structure of the apprenticeship. The apprenticeship, as was said earlier by some contributors, it's 80% working on the job, it's 20% in college. So it's a contract of employment. It's earn as you learn, and it's a unique product. It's a unique product compared to some of the other products that we have where students go to college on a more full-time basis across 1, 2 or 3 years. So any of these apprenticeships, they're earn as you learn, they're higher education level 6 into degree ordinary level 7, and I mean that's really important for as the apprentices espoused earlier in their talks. I mean that's really important to them, and you know in Ireland today there's 80 different apprenticeships running. You know, it's a really strong movement, so it is. Yes, there's about 27,500 apprentices in Ireland across the board, so it's really something that people are voting for. Yes, and Teagasc are really delighted to be in that space now with our 4 land-based apprenticeships. And
John, as well, it's fair to say that it's open to both male and females.
Oh, completely. In that figure of 27,500, there's about 10% of those females, and that's rising, and across all different codes. But you see Olivia and how well she's getting on at her apprenticeships, and she's at level 7. The 2 lads are in their level 6 apprentices. So I mean, it's certainly open to all people. And also, I think one of the lads said about the age gap. I mean, it's from 17 up to 50 on the Sportsturf. On our own one in landscaping, it's from 17 up to 37, 38, you know, so there's a wide spread.
I think you're being generous there now, John. There's a few older guys there, but not too old. Advice for employers then, John, like say Brian, and it was great to hear it, he would recommend the apprenticeship programme to other maybe farmers like himself. what advice would you be giving employers now that are thinking, I need to get on this programme?
Yeah, and that's the key thing. They need to examine it, they need to investigate it, they need to contact us, myself, Marcella, and people on the apprenticeship coordination panels, if you like. But it mightn't be for every employer, because what employers need to be able to do is to train and mentor employees. They need to be able to release them for their block release, and they need to be able to give them one-on-one attention. And I think that was very clear from both Conor and Shane and Olivia, that they're getting one-on-one. Like, there's not too many programs you get a one-on-one training with, and that's what's important. We need to espouse that, and employers need to look at that. But I would say they're the key tenets of it.
Okay, and you might just briefly mention then the mentorship with the apprentices, with the employers as well. So
yeah, a key requirement in terms of selecting approved employers is that mentorship is available. Now, that mentorship may be available from the employer or a designated mentor, that is an employee within the organisation or within the employment. That person needs to have a qualification and or experience, so they can be the guide on the side for the apprentice. Because very briefly, we'll say in any of our syllabi, there's an on-the-job component and there's an off-the-job component. The mentor has to follow the on-the-job component, and the tutors in the college follow the off-the-job component. So it's a synchrony of delivery towards the apprentice. The apprentice is getting the knowledge from both sides, both in the college and on the employment front, and they have to be in symphony, and that's very evident from what the people are saying.
And a very important point as well, John, that you're not on your own when you're doing this programme.
No, you're not.
Marcella, we've mentioned, and you'll see the SOLAS logos on all their material for today. Can you explain to the viewers maybe what SOLAS's role in the apprenticeship programme?
Yeah, thanks, Deirdre. For these apprenticeship programmes, there's legislation in the back of the background of these programmes that the occupation is recognised. So under the Industrial Training Act, SOLAS have responsibility for registering and approving the employers and then registering the apprentices for the programme. So they play a huge part in this process. We in Teagasc, as the coordinating provider and through the consortium who've nominated a Teagasc member to consult and work with SOLAS, guide potential employers how to become an employer for the apprenticeship programme. But there is a huge amount of work that the network of SOLAS authorising officers do around the country to approve employers, not just for the Teagasc apprenticeship programmes, but for all apprenticeship programmes as well.
And I think, again, it came through with the employers there in the video and with Brian, that it is more or less a straightforward enough application. I know you might just refer to some documentation, Marcella, that we need. And then, Marcella, you might just reiterate again how to become an apprentice.
Yeah. Okay, for the employment part of it, as John says, there's a huge amount of information around there, and to contact Teagasc as well. But on the Generation Apprenticeship website, all the information is there about the programme, as is the Apprenticeship Code of Practice for the employers and the apprentices, which outlines the obligations of both parties. So the first part is to read the information, contact Teagasc then if you have any further questions about the programme. Then once you're happy, complete the SOLAS online expression of interest. Once that is done, the nominated Teagasc person will receive an email saying that Brackenhill Farm is expressing interest and want to move forward. Once that is done, the Teagasc person will contact the potential employer, request further information to be filled out. So as the workplace mentor, it could be their education qualifications and their experience as well. And within reason, visit those employers as well. So last week and the week before, I visited farms up in Meath and in Wexford to go through that process with them, and I've gathered further information to be sent back to the SOLAS person to complete their suitability to train the apprentice.
Perfect. And I could talk more about this, but we really need to kind of jump onto some of these questions that are coming in. And I might direct this one to you as well, Marcella. How strict are the entry requirements for the apprenticeship programmes?
Within the apprenticeship programmes, each of them have defined entry requirements. Probably for the level 6, the first entry requirement would be the Leaving Cert. But the consortium, all the consortiums felt that we need to be for people working in the industry, they might have left school after the junior cert. So there is an entry requirement for them. If you do have the junior cert, be a certain age and have 2 years or a number of years working in that industry, you can join the programme as well, as long as you can prove and have evidence like it could be a reference from your previous employers and stuff like that as well.
And John, a question for you. Somebody here has a student and they want to know how much will they get paid?
Yeah, so again, the payment rates would have been agreed at consortium level, so it's between the employer and the employee. But the minimum is the minimum that they be paid is at least minimum wage.
Okay,
and that's as far as we go with that. The employment rate or the payment rates are between the employee and the employer.
Both of you mentioned the consortium. Would you mind just explaining what that is for those that not entirely sure what that is?
So a consortium steering group is the body of industry representatives that came together and set up each apprenticeship. So be it in agriculture or horticulture, they're a body made up of industry representatives. They're employers essentially.
Yeah.
And just follow on from that, Deirdre, as well, the consortium will always be there and it will evolve with the apprenticeship programme. So going forward, we'll be bringing employers onto the consortium group as apprentices as well, because they have oversight for the occupational profile, which underpins everything for this apprenticeship programme, the modules, etc.
So it's a very important role that they play in the apprenticeship programme.
It's industry focused all the way through.
Yeah. Marcella, is there a contract of certain hours to be worked every week? Say for the farm manager, this person would like to know.
If anyone is interested in the programmes, read the Apprenticeship Code of Practice. It states what is the minimum number of hours per week the apprentice has to complete, which is 39. But for any other industry, hours is agreed when you complete your terms of a contract with the employer, and you have to comply with employment legislation, but the minimum hours per week is 39 hours.
Okay. And another question here, I might go to John with this one. How does the accommodation work? Is it rented or are you in digs?
Yeah, well, again, go back to the contract of employment. So it's that's between the employee and the employer. Some employers will offer accommodation. A lot won't. But it depends on the situation. That's something that's worked out during the contract.
Okay.
When the students or when the apprentices say come for block release, our experience currently in Dublin is that the students commute to and from the college location.
Yeah, as Conor is very diligently returning to college once we're finished here today.
And he uses the train to go up and down from Kilkenny. Actually, on that spread, if I can just say, in the horticulture apprenticeship, there are apprentices from Sligo down as far as Kilkenny. So there's all of these programs can have they have a national spread.
Yes,
you know, and we referenced earlier the blended nature of it. There's an online nature cohort to it, there's a face-to-face cohort, and that facilitates the national spread of the programme.
Perfect.
With the accommodation, like I know Clonakilty is very far away down in Cork, but as Kildalton maybe for other people, but before the apprentices are invited in for the next intake, they are given a list of accommodation for block release, and there is accommodation available in the colleges as well for some of the block release as well.
So Teagasc will help or assist people that need the accommodation.
For block release,
Marcella, is a driving licence essential for the farm technician apprenticeship?
As we stated, is full-time employment with the approved employer and apprentice. If the approved employer requests that the apprentice has to have a licence, it can be one of the criteria.
Okay.
And plus they're travelling to block release, so for the farm technician is down in Clonakilty, you're going to need transport to get down there.
And again, Marcella, can an apprentice go directly into level 7 or do they need a level 5 and level 6 in college first?
When these apprenticeship programmes were approved, the consortium group for the agriculture wanted 2 entries into the apprenticeship programme, so the level 6 and the level 7. And for the level 7 programme, entry requirements is you need an advanced level 6 certificate in agriculture or the level 6 farm technician apprenticeship programme, or if you have a major non-agriculture level 6 award with 2 years experience, you may be deemed eligible for the programme as well. But you do need level 6 going into that programme.
And I have a question in here, and I'm just trying to deliver it correctly. I'm not entirely sure what they mean, but why is 2 years in college full-time, say for the level 6, and then 2 years through the apprenticeship in level 7 ordinary degree is 2 years?
With all these apprenticeship programmes under Generation Apprenticeship, the National Apprenticeship Office, the minimum number of years for an apprenticeship programme is 2 years. So that's why it is a 2-year programme for the Level 7 apprenticeship programme.
Okay. And John, I might ask you this. There's a person here wondering, they're doing the Leaving Cert at the minute. What are the first steps they need to take?
The first step they need to take is to complete the Leaving Cert as successfully as possible. That's number one priority, because as Marcella said, we need them to have a level 5 before they go on to a level 6. But secondly, as is referred to in the animation, they need to secure a job with an approved employer. So I would have said to many young people I'm talking to, look in your parish, look in your locality. Is there a horticultural or farming enterprise that you want to connect yourself with, to be trained through the apprenticeship route? And if there is, go to them, approach them. If they're an approved employer, and they may be able to set up an apprenticeship with you by securing an employment contract.
Yeah. And I just add as well that one of the common themes between Conor, Shane and Olivia was that they all worked with their employers for some time before they actually started.
They did. It's fair to say, like last year when the apprenticeships were launched, people like Conor and the two others were really the low-hanging fruit, if you like, because they were currently employed, and it was the next step. I think Diarmaid put it that way. That was the next obvious step for the employee to move on to a programme of an apprenticeship.
Okay. I'm being told I have time for 2 more questions here. So John, I'll just follow on with you. Is there a deadline date for approving employers?
Well, the approval of employers is an ongoing process. Since the 28th of July last year in 2023, since these programmes were announced, employers have been getting approved. And every week, myself and Marcella and colleagues deal with that approval process. And what I would say, just to add to that, every employer should look at getting approved. You know, it doesn't cost anything.
Whether they have an apprentice or not.
Whether they have an apprentice or not, because then they can advertise on apprenticeship.ie if they want to draw talent, if they want to draw people who are interested in coming to their business, rather than them spending a lot of time going out there searching for people. You know, and that was referenced by Brian. I think, you know, it's a war for talent out there at the minute. So to become approved, it doesn't cost anything, and then you can advertise. Apprenticeship.ie becomes your jobs website.
Yeah, perfect, John, and that's very important information, again, like a lot of it. And Marcella, finally, my final question then for you, are there supports for employers taking on apprentices?
For the employers, they will be invited to come to an induction mentor workshop once the apprentices is registered with them. So we are intaking apprentices in September, so all the employers that will have apprentices will be invited to whoever coordinating college to go through the programme with them. And if they need additional supports with more guidance on modules, etc. like that, we can provide that to them as well. We will be asking the employers and the workplace mentors to nominate maybe 1 or 2 people to go on a working group as well, so we can feed back through the education governance structure what we need to do to improve things with the employer, whether it's information, training, bringing in industry speakers about maybe employment legislation, everything like that as well. But there is supports there, yes. Okay,
final one word. What message do you really want to get across today?
My message is Teagasc as a coordinating body over the last probably 2 years, 3 years, have worked so much with SOLAS, the National Apprenticeship Office, QQI, our funding body, which is the Higher Education Authority, and the consortium groups who are leading these, and it's a bright future for apprenticeship programmes and industries as well.
Okay, John?
Earn as you learn, and it's a definite pathway. Everybody should examine it thoroughly.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, and we'll leave it there. And can I just say before we move on that any questions, I didn't get to all of them, but that we will come back directly to people that had queries there. I think we're just going to wrap it up. So can I extend my heartfelt thanks to everyone for joining us this morning, especially our panellists, Conor, Shane, Olivia and Brian, John and Marcella, for generally sharing their valuable insights and experience with us. A tremendous amount of work goes on behind the scenes to make events like this happen, and I want to express my sincere thanks to Declan and Rachel for producing today's event. And finally, to the viewers, whether you were tuning in from home, work or school, I hope that you found today's event interesting and informative. The apprenticeship model offers a new pathway to gain qualifications in the land-based sector. If you wish to earn, as John said, earn as you learn, get in contact with us. Thank you and have a good day.